Say. In Latin?
It's very similar, sorry.
Oh, similar concept of so the roots of...
Maybe.
Interesting. Harbin just said that the roots of the word entrepreneurship are very similar in Latin. So it also means that deriving that inspiration, having that wellspring of energy, which is helping you get inspired on your tasks every day, moment to moment, unstoppably. So please help me welcome the entrepreneurs who are carving the path for us to follow. C.R. Venkatesh. Bhavini Parekh. Please bear with us because they're coming. They're on their way. Vanita Chaudhary. Yes, Vanita, you're here. Vanita said to me earlier during lunch, she said Vanita means woman. So this is the Vanita Economic Forum. Join us on the stage, Vanita. She's the founder and CEO. She's the founder and CEO of Radical Edge, a training and executive coaching and leadership consulting firm based in Bangalore. It's an honor to have you. Jonita D'Souza, Faisal Ahmad, Roxanne Jaffer. Welcoming you, Roxanne. This lady is the founder of Sovereign Hotels Limited, coming all the way from United Arab Emirates, a prominent humanitarian and a successful entrepreneur in the hospitality industry. What a privilege. The students, good night. Good night. Sweet dreams. Come on, get up, you four. Boys, come on. Show us some energy. Here, the girls are looking at you. Good, good. Keep that going. Linda Fostag. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Linda, representing in her Team America, traveling all the way across 7 seas to be with us. This author, speaker, life and business planning consultant is internationally recognized, helping us become a master of our destiny and disaster. Premlata? Premlata, are you here? Soma Basu, join us. Thank you, Soma. Are entrepreneurs born or bred? It's my pleasure to invite, to open this discussion, this conversation. Yes, please, join us. Before I invite, welcoming Harsha Bardhini, the founder and proprietor of Design Inspirations, an architectural consultancy firm established by her. Thank you for being with us. Wonderful. Let's travel all the way to the Middle East. Here we have the perspective of the United Arab Emirates. Welcoming Roxana Jaffer. I'm sorry, we welcome you. We need to welcome you. Thank you.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be at this wonderful event. Thank you, WEF and Mamta, for inviting me over. are entrepreneurs born or bred? After listening to the afternoon, I decided I wasn't going to go through my speech. And I decided I'm going to leave the floor open for you to tell me whether an entrepreneur like me is born or bred. And I'll tell you why. My father was an entrepreneur. Only because his father in Kenya was a very successful entrepreneur. He used to own a business of pawnbroking and finance, money changing. And he was very well known in Mombasa, he was very rich, etc. He then set my father up into a business of making curios, which is the Kenyan artifacts, etc. Now, my father had money from day one. He whiled away his time, and I don't think that business was as successful as his father's was. So, both of them are entrepreneurs. Whether my father was born or bred, we're going to find out. Because after that comes my mother. Now, my mother was Indian and was brought over by my father, my grandfather, to marry my father. And she, in the 60s, decided to come to Bristol in the UK and become a teacher for mentally handicapped and deaf and dumb challenged children. What she did with that education, that degree, was worked for a school that she brought up to a very high standard, where lots of dignitaries came to see how she ran the whole show. She was not a daughter of an entrepreneur, but by education and by my father giving her the support, she did what she did. She was successful. After she came to England, and what she did was, she just passed away a week ago, by the way, and I had to go to London, and I've just come back because we did not want to mourn her death, but wanted to celebrate her life. And she got an award by the London Borough of Barnet. For what she did was, she opened up something called Barnet Asian Women's Association, where she saw Indian women, Asian women, being brought over by their families, but perhaps not being given the same love that they would get here, and they were going through depression. So my mother set up a little drop-in center for women, girls, young girls who were depressed. And that became a social entrepreneurship. Although this word is new, social entrepreneurship, we did not know that was what it was. And she would make a little money, but it was plowed back in. So, and she made a great success of that, and that she got at 75, she got an award. And she just passed away at 95, and we talked through all that with all our family, etc. And we're very proud of her. Now, so, whether she was born or bred, I don't know. You let me know. Comes me. I'm very honored that, Mamta, you brought in somebody called Suzanne from Australia here. I used to be her accountant in London 35 years ago. She's not here, and she'd brought in Benetton at that time from Italy, and she was going through a problem with her partner or whatever, yeah. And so many years ago, and when I was still studying being an accountant, and I worked for her, and because I used to work for her boyfriend at the time, or who became her husband, Brian Perry, who set me up in business. So he used to be the accountant for, he used to have the franchise of Dunkin' Donuts, and I was their director, and was an accountant, young, a hot-headed girl, wanted to do things for myself, and in the end, I did not agree with the way his business was going. He was a womanizer, he was having fun. After Suzanne, there were many other women anyway, but he was a really nice man. He set me up in business. I had a wholesale factory of selling donuts to all the airports, and British Harrods and Selfridges, I'm sure you've heard all of these stores, and made a very successful donut company. Came to Dubai to join my husband 12 years ago. By chance, again, I ended up building a hotel and became the CEO of a hotel hospitality company. And today that hotel is won several awards, and I'm going to talk about please do come in the afternoon session where we're talking about the triple P bottom line, which is what I practice. It's talking about people, planet, and profit. And I won't go through it here, but we've got awards on that. Now, by doing that, I realized that then there was a need, because we were getting people from India, Pakistan, Nepal coming to work for us, but because they had not had schooling and understanding in spoken English, their growth wasn't very good. So I initiated an NGO. Now, whether there's an entrepreneurship, I don't know, but it's not social because I don't earn any money. All my salaries that I got from Dubai would go into helping young people who were perhaps not as lucky as me, who got the chances during the life. Yes, maybe I got the genes from my grandfather, so maybe I was perhaps bred a bit, but I think it was also chance, and it also was because I was able to take a risk to get to becoming a good entrepreneur, and also I was also able to have the compassion to do well and in any business I took. So my NGO at the moment has 80% success rate. Everybody we give our 6-week education in English to are employed now. And we're running in Delhi as much as we're running in Hunza. A couple of my graduates who had no chance of employment, because remember, they were not born to be, are now even 12-room hotel entrepreneurs, as much as they work at Kentucky Fried and etc. So, decision's yours. Are we bred or are we born? Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Roxanne, for sharing your journey, because that was a really serendipitous moment that you shared. And I always feel that it's a part of the design. None of it is accidental. It's all curated. It's absolutely. So you're a resounding example of that. So it's just a beautiful celebration of sisterhood that you both happen to be in the same room and meet eons after. Thank you. I'd like to invite Jonita, welcoming the lovely Jonita D'Souza, the founder of Exploring Femininity, coming all the way from United Kingdom. Please join us on the stage. A lady who believes in passing on the spiritual wisdom and exploring women to get on the journey of femininity. Would you like to speak, sir? Please join us. Wonderful. Did they clap for you? I don't think we welcomed you. Let's do it now. Jonita D'Souza, ladies and gentlemen, coming from the UK.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity, Harbeen and Mamta, for creating beautiful space and allowing women to share their stories, because through stories we connect with each other on a much deeper level. And entrepreneur, born or bred, this topic is a bit confusing for me. I think the entire world is debating around the fact, you know, researchers show some are born entrepreneurs, some are made entrepreneurs. To be honest, this self-inquiry kind of confused even me. And as I reflected back, I realized I don't know if I'm a born entrepreneur or I was a made entrepreneur or entrepreneur by chance or luck or whatever. But I want to give a background here. I was born in a very tiny, small island that is in the Indian Ocean called Andaman Islands. So I was born in India and I was raised there in that small island, raised to be a very competitive kid in studies, so I excelled in studies. I grew up and became an IT engineer, like most of us do in India. I went to London to do my MBA, And I got a job there. I created a nice lifestyle for myself that was really exciting. So was I a born entrepreneur? I don't know, but I had certain traits. I was this risk taker, I was this go-getter, I was this opportunity seeker. So I kind of had some traits of an entrepreneur, but my life was different until I realized that there were certain life circumstances that made me become an entrepreneur. So as I was living my life in London, there came a point in my life which I consider one of my darkest times, where a lot of things in my life turned upside down. First of all, I found myself in deep depression, grieving my father's sudden demise in India. And I was a daddy's girl, and I felt really lost, and I lost hope and trust in the future. At the same time, I was in London in a very toxic relationship, kind of losing my self-esteem, like a lot of young girls do at this age, in their 20s. And alongside that, my body had developed a really severe case of eczema that was spreading all over. My body was swelling, and it was itchy, and it was disgusting looking, and I felt ugly. And I lost all my confidence. I was also becoming really frustrated by the fact that the Western society had such high pressure and standards for women to look and feel good on the exterior. And I was complying to that as well. So there was no one to be blamed. I bought into that, and it was extremely tiring. I was also confused by the fact that even modern educated women in the Eastern world like us had to go through double standards and such restrictions in the society, where they still do not feel safe to walk in the streets in the evenings by themselves. So it was all really confusing at that point in my life. And as an introvert, I kept sulking in, and I wanted answers to how a woman is supposed to feel good in her authentic expression. Doesn't matter eastern part of the world or western world. How can she just truly express herself without getting carried away in the worldly matters? How can she be truly herself? And through a lot of resistance and persistence, I took the quest of finding the ancient teachings, the ancient wisdoms of the divine feminine. It all happened, they say that when you're ready, the teacher appears. And it was that point where I was questioning life, I was questioning womanhood, and there's this beautiful teacher in the West appeared, and she started talking about things of feminine essence and divine feminine energy and all of that. And I was like, my goodness, why didn't anyone teach this in school? Like, why are women not taught these things in school, and why has it become just part of religion in certain sectors only? This was a life skill that I started to then learn, practice, and the more I was practicing, there were women in my circle who began to ask me to share tips, to share them how they can feel more energized, more confident, more authentic in the way they were living their lives. And that was a choice point for me. And I feel that this is the choice point that defines oneself as an entrepreneur. Are you willing, or are you willing to step out and become visible in what you truly believe? Are you willing to go out and take the risk out there in what you truly believe can change lives? And then began my journey of entrepreneurship, where I started teaching myself how to deliver this message, facilitation, courses, certifications, whatever that could make me stand on stage and share to women that this works. And 22 courses precisely over the course of few years at that time, including public speaking, which I hated so much. But I was willing to do that. I was willing to go out because I truly believe that women, when they connect to their divine feminine nature, remember their ancient wisdom that resides in their body, they can create a sustainable way of living in this modern day busy world. And I truly believe that, and I'm really proud that it's been 5 years I birthed my company called Exploring Femininity. And we run week-long wellness retreats, online workshops, weekend workshops, online courses for women across the globe to empower in their feminine nature, to remember their sacredness, to remember the beauty of their divine feminine nature and their sovereign power to create a life they desire. And this journey of entrepreneurship made me realize one important thing, that I don't know if entrepreneurs are born, made, both, accidental, whatever, but a true entrepreneur is a leader. I feel a true entrepreneur is a leader, is a person who may or may not have the skills, may or may not have the ideas, but deep inside, they know that there is something bigger than themselves brewing in them. They are meant for more. And this something bigger is bigger than the money they want to make, bigger than what society is going to tell them about, and they are willing to go for it, take the risk. And as long as they feed this fire, I think you will be a successful entrepreneur. Thank you for listening. And today, after 13 years, I am back in India, and it is a beginning of my entrepreneurial journey in India, and what could be a better place to begin with? Thank you so much.
Jonita, you encapsulate and capture the spirit of the Women Economic Forum. We lay emphasis, I don't know if you were here this morning, Herbine said as well about the Shakti power. So thank you for helping us reclaim that, because in that is true transformation, to reignite that ancient wisdom that's in memory in our bodies, and to be a facilitator in that process. I think the work you do needs to be spread the world over. Thank you. I'd like to invite someone very special coming all the way from the United States of America. Please join your hands together in welcoming Linda Fosek, an author and international speaker and life and business planning consultant, helping us get off the worry-go-round.
It is truly an amazing gift to be here in front of all of you today. To be here in India is absolutely beyond amazing for me. You know, you asked the question whether an entrepreneur is born or bred. Well, that's like asking whether the chicken came first or the egg, right? Is it nature or nurture? What comes first, right? I contend that it's both. First, every single person is born with skill sets of an entrepreneur. They have curiosity, they have problem-solving skills, and they have tenacity. Have you ever watched a toddler of 2 or 3 years old climb out of their crib for the first time? Or that toddler that knows that the sweets are in the cabinet up on the over the counter, right? And they figure out, I'll drag the chair here, and they struggle and they climb up on the chair, they get up on the cabinet, they reach and grab those treats that they know they watch their mommy put up there. They are actually showing us the skills that many entrepreneurs have, because we have to have problem-solving skills. We have to be tenacious, because the world in entrepreneurship is not an easy one, is it? But what happens to us? You know, we have these amazing skills that we're born with, and then cultural norms, expectations, our education systems take that gift away from so many of us. You know, we're told you can't do this, or you have to do that, or you have to follow in your father's footsteps or your mother's footsteps. You have to marry at a certain age. Education is still stuck back in the 19th century, where education taught our children 3 skills: the skill of obedience, timeliness, and doing boring, repetitive things over and over. And our education system is still stuck there. I was one of those kids that probably would have been diagnosed with ADHD when I was in school. I was one of those kids that was always pushing the limits. Like one day I was doing a gravity demonstration. Teacher didn't like it too much. I leaned my chair back so far to see how far I could sit back on the chair before it would fall over. I fell over 3 times before she sent a note home to my mother, who was very unhappy with me. I was also one of those kids that, for whatever reason, I saw how everything I was learning was connected to everything else. Math was connected to science, which was connected to history, which was connected to music. And instead of just learning math for math's sake, I saw how everything was interconnected. And in the 4th grade, figured out I didn't have to study. I could learn in the classroom what I needed to know, get B's and C's, and my parents didn't complain. I never took a book home. And I would always get like an A+ for creativity on my papers and a C- because I didn't have any footnotes. But I always approached life with abandon, and my father was truly my greatest teacher and mentor. He was also the spirit of entrepreneurship. He was always looking for that opportunity that was going to take him to that millionaire status, you know. He did Amway, he made flowers out of seashells, he tried everything he could, besides his engineering job, to take his family to a new level. He did finally make it in real estate in his 50s, but I watched him and his spirit of entrepreneurship. He was somebody who, when he came home from World War II, worked for a carpenter for 3 months, came home and announced to his new bride, "I'm going to build a house." It took him 5 years, but he did build that house, from hand digging the foundation to laying every single stone on the foundation. That was the house they lived in for 66 years before his passing. It's the house I grew up in. I grew up seeing that you could do it if you put your mind to it. And that is the ultimate spirit of entrepreneurship, isn't it? When you look at life, you know, I still have this amazing memory of my dad. We spent a week together at a house we owned together up in Connecticut. And we needed to insulate the ceiling. Now, this was a cathedral ceiling, 3 stories at the height of the peak. And the first day we went to the hardware store, and I expected to come home with a load of installation, because that was the job, right? Instead, what happened, we came home with a load of lumber, and I was like, what the heck is this? Until my father took out a piece of paper with a sketch for the scaffold we would have to build in order to reach the ceiling. Now, that scaffold was, you know, that's what the gift of an entrepreneur is. We have the big vision. We see the changes we want to make in the world, but it's being able to break that vision down to the individual steps that it takes to reach that vision. How to build that scaffold so that you can make a gorgeous cathedral ceiling. My father is the inspiration for the business I have now, and it's something that I treasure, and it is his legacy that I bring forth as the crisis planner. And it's very exciting to be able to share his story as well as mine, and that journey of entrepreneurship that truly is one both of nature and nurture. And I thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Linda. You represent empowerment not just in your words, but you live it. I saw it, I witnessed it yesterday as she walked all day up and down and around Rameshwar, even with a physical limitation. She's a Shiro. I look up to you. Inviting on this stage a gentleman, the only one representing the diversity on our forum. Well, please put your hands together in welcoming Mr. C.R. Venkatesh, the Managing Director and CEO of .com Infoway, which I'll have you know is recognized as one of the world's leading digital marketing, web, and mobile application development and marketing companies. Welcoming you. I'm going to announce a few other speakers if they're with us. Please come on over to the stage. Bhavini Parekh, are you here? Faisal Ahmad? Prem Lata? One more. Okay, yes, Mira, you're right. Welcoming to share her journey, it's my privilege to invite our next speaker. No. Soma Basu, a renowned journalist, the deputy editor of The Hindu, India's leading English national daily. She writes for travel, lifestyle, health, environment, and social issues. We're looking forward to hearing your story.
A very good afternoon, dear friends, from the overseas, from different parts of India, and of course, Namma Madurai. Namaste and Vanakkam. First is, of course, I need to apologize because I'm a spillover from the previous session. And I think all sessions have got mixed up. Thanks, Harsha is there, my co-panelists. And I also usually shy away from meetings which have the word economic, because I've never ever, kind of hovered near finances, or it just goes over my head. So I normally don't accept invitations. Second is because I'm such a hardcore reporter working for quarter century, and I only love to sit on the other side of the dais and listen to stories of other people that inspire me and enrich me. So whenever I'm on this side of the dais, it really sends butterflies in my stomach. And just last 20 minutes, I heard 3 or 4 speakers, and I said, my gosh, I don't think I'd stand a chance in front of all of you. You spoke so well, you're so confident, your stories, the way you narrated. And so I was just thinking, what should I say next? And also because the sessions have got mixed up. So my topic given was Women Shine, who raise sons. Sorry? Oh, who raise boys who respect women. On the way I was thinking, I'm sorry. No, because morning whole day I was in the office and I was at the receiving end of my bosses. Then I went home to change my dress and I got late, and the way Mamta announced my arrival, it further embarrassed me. So I was all my thoughts are garbled up. But I'll try to do justice. This topic which was given, the moment I read it, I really felt that it is kind of emotionally challenging and has an emotional connect. It is also somewhere, you can also surrender to it humorously. It is deeply philosophical, because every woman, or for that matter, every parent has his or her set of instincts to raise their children. There's no copybook rule. There's no guideline for how you raise your kids. It is it all comes naturally. I feel that when you don't push something, but you allow something to happen naturally through real experiences, that kind of learning is the best, and that also yields the best of results. I have been in a profession, and previously because I was working in Delhi, which is kind of, as you all know, is the political and the crime capital of the country. So the work pressure and the work demands were very different. So I used to be in quite a stressful work atmosphere. In that situation, from that situation, when I actually came to Madurai, which was about 15 years ago, I really felt that things are very laid back, because I also changed my repertoire or the forte of topics which I usually wrote earlier. But what happened was, in between, like it happens with all women, they get married, they have kids, they take a break. So I had to do the same. And when I took a break, I didn't want to stop writing. So what my bosses suggested was that you don't have to come to regular office work. You can kind of freelance and write a travel column for us, which will give you the freedom to do things at your own pace, and also, maybe you will get to know the state better. So I remember it was not easy, because my son was just born, and I started writing this column called Roadless Travel. So I used to travel, carry him along in a basket, and I used to go trekking. And there were a lot of situations when we were caught in some difficult situations. We had a herd of elephants cross us. We got lost in a forest filled with mist. There were insects crawling all over. And I was carrying this little fellow either in a basket or in my sling, and walking around searching for my story or completing my story. What I felt was, I have never consciously tried to teach anything, but the way you lead or practice your life, the way you lead by example, is enough for your children to observe and absorb and then lead their own lives. Today, my kids are not very grown up. Of course, one is on the threshold of adulthood and the other is in her troublesome teens. But what I feel is, they have seen how parents struggle, how parents do their bit to bring them up, how working moms especially. So it is not really, I wouldn't say that I've really taken any extra effort to teach them, but the way I have gone back home, narrated my stories, like today also when I go back home, I'm sure I'll tell the stories that I've heard here on the dais today. It is through these indirect episodes, indirect things that you tell, that children tend to learn more. But two things which I have myself learned, from my son, because since we are specifically talking about boys, which also kind of told me somewhere, okay, I was on the right track and things haven't really gone too much wrong. One was, like it happens with all mothers, we're always worried that our children are not picking up reading habits, or they're not studying enough and all that stuff. So I was also worried because my son took to reading very late. But I did not hesitate to take the help of a counselor. I actually asked a counselor that I find mothers all around, they're talking about their kid is reading this, reading that, and this fellow is not reading anything. So what should I do? So she told me that nothing. Whatever interests him, you just give him those books. And what I realized was I was actually filling up the cupboard, the shelf, with books which I thought were typical boy books. I was buying books on cars and automobiles or the Hardy Boy series, and they were all gathering dust on the shelf, and he would not even look at them. And then this lady told me that, no, you please look at his interest. What interests him? So I said, food interests him. So he was a little grown-up guy, but still I did not hesitate. I bought books. I actually bought picture books, which had pictures of very nice exotic ingredients and food items. Some of the names even I didn't know. And I gave it to him and things changed. And then I realized, my God, this fellow is really turning pages. And he's learning all these names of exotic condiments and ingredients, which even I don't know. Then he started demanding that please get them, and I would like to make dishes. So that is how it changed, it changed my perspective. One morning I found him sitting in the loo and reading a very sensitive, which I had read as a girl long ago, called Heidi, written by a Swiss author. And he was actually reading it and crying. I said, there am I have not really done it wrong. I think I have raised a nice, sensitive fellow who will continue in the same form, though a little aggression is also necessary, thoughtfulness is necessary, but I would like to believe, there's no reason for me not to believe that I have not done a commendable job, because I've also seen the children, and this is not to also undermine my other child who's a daughter. I've seen them stand up for their issues, whether big or small, relevant or important, in their school and now in college, and they seem to be, according to me as a mother, going pretty in the right direction. And also before coming, I read one comment by Dr. Harbeen Arora, interview recently, that 2020 for a woman at workplace is going to be a culture of communications and honest relationships. So I was just thinking, it's very rightly said, at workplace, but I think in most homes, women have been practicing this. It's just that we don't realize it, we don't talk about it, but we have been doing it all these years at home, and that is why I think we have been able to produce so many respect-worthy children, men, daughters, women, who all grow up and make this world beautiful, a beautiful place to live in. And I will also end with a small saying which says that if you see a man who treats a woman, and that woman could be your grandmother, his grandmother, mother, wife, daughter, aunt, sister, girlfriend, a colleague at workplace, if you see such a man treating a woman like a prince, be assured this man was born and raised by a queen. And that queen is like you and me sitting in this audience. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your profound articulation and for really taking us as close as possible to the heart and soul of it. Thank you. We continue the same conversation as I welcome Harsha Vardhini. Welcoming Harsha, she's a designer and architectural consultant. Your organization is called Design Inspirations. Welcoming you.
Good evening all, super women here. I think everybody has super women here and super men also. So everybody is talking in a different way, in a high level, and kindly excuse me, I'm not a good orator, and I like to speak what I think about. The topic given to me is women shine when they raise boys who respect women. As rightly said by Soma Basu, whenever you see a person or a boy who respects women with dignity, I feel the mother is the behind person. I want to say two basic things which I feel is very important to raise the boys. I have a son who is 6 years old, so I have a long way to go, and I think this is the right topic for me. At 4 years old, when my son was 4 years old, he said, can you do this help for me in the kitchen? He said, no, this is only women can do it, girls can do it, not boys. I was like, okay, I don't know what to do. So I felt hurt, and I want to think about the root cause behind it. What will be the root cause? The man in the family is, of course, my husband, yes. So I was just wondering what to do. Like, I cannot be shouting at him, and I want to make it in a different way so that he makes it in a positive note and grow in a better way. So then I took it a point, okay, cooking is something, is for girls, and there is a responsibility discrimination is there in the society, which I wanted to eradicate through my son. First, I did is like, okay, what do you want to do it? Like, can we bake or something like a cake, which you really wanted to? He said, okay, let me also help you. So he just voluntarily helped me, and I said, the first time, I said, okay, we need the flour and everything, and he made sure that everything is there. So I felt happy, and he's more interested to take up a little responsibilities at least. So then onwards, I was like a little bit happy. Even now, he's helping me with baking or cooking or something like that. If I'm really tired or something, he understands that. Then the second thing, basic thing, which I really wanted to address is, we wanted to solve the problems in a very young age. How is it possible? Only when your son tells everything happens at home. If he's going to hide you, you cannot solve it. So like one day, we were about to sleep, and my son said, okay, Ma, he's in the first grade right now, and one girl in the class gave me a letter with I love you. I'm like, I don't know. I said, I don't know how to react, and I said, like, what did you say? No, Mom, I just kept it and gave it back to her. I said, okay, fine. Then I really made happy, like it made me happy that at least he's sharing everything, whatever it is. And I slowly talked every day in a different way so that he should not be in a deviation manner. So the responsibilities, and as well as we wanted the children to be very frank enough to talk to us so that we can eradicate the problems in the future. So these two things are the basic things which I feel it's very responsibilities. Then the third point, I would like to say that I'm here now as an entrepreneur, as a dancer, and I'm doing independent research, and I'm doing a lot of other things also. It's just not happening after marriage in India especially. Most of the women will be like held up at the household work or a housewife, and very hard to explore to come out. And I should really thank my husband who really supported me. Then when I think about who really supported me in every field which I ventured, I think of his mother. Definitely he gave the respect. She taught him to give respect to the women so that it's easy. So ultimately I wanted my boys also to be like raised in a proper manner. So I conclude with a very short speech before time. Yes. So thank you so much for giving me a beautiful opportunities in presenting myself to the World Economic Forum. And thank you, all the organizers. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Harsha. Thank you for your wonderful presence. I'd like to invite another speaker who's just joined us. Welcoming Faisal Ahmed. Please put your hands together in giving a warm welcome to this legendary entrepreneur. Please have a, okay, actually stand for a moment as I introduce you, because then he'll disappear behind me. He's the founder of Success Menswear with 8 stores across southern India and a recipient of multiple awards. Have any of you been to his stores? It was, oh, what, the women are not allowed in your men's store? Oh, it's too crowded. What? True story. Mira couldn't get in because it was so crowded. Okay, I'm coming. Please have a seat. We'll hear from you in a moment. Thank you. Thank you, Faisal, for being with us. I'd like to welcome our speaker as we unravel the entrepreneurial conversation. Are they born or are they bred? We're still finding out. Please join me in welcoming Mr. C.R. Venkatesh, the MD and CEO of .com Infoway, at the leading edge of digital marketing and app development in India. It's an honor. Please put your hands together.
Thank you so much. Actually, what happened was, like, I hurt my toe, So when I was coming, I was actually going into the doctor's place, and immediately I got a call from Mamta saying, hey, 10 minutes your session is going to start. So I had to practically skip the doctor's session and came straight here. So I'm still struggling. No problem, it's okay. Okay, so I think we had saw some amazing speeches in this session. I just happened to come during the last two, and I think Soma Basu was speaking. She said, I'm not that good speaker compared to those people and all that, and then she spoke beautifully. Then Harsha also was doing the same thing. So I think they put me in a wrong session or something where everyone is an expert here. So anyway, I'll try to do my best on the topic given to me. So basically, entrepreneurship, born or bred. So I'm going to talk about my experience on what happened and on how I turned into an entrepreneur. My family business is textile. So I grew up in a very conservative family, and we actually had. When I finished my college, I was supposed to join my family business, and well, actually, I did that. Actually, I did that for a couple of years. But then I somehow felt that it's not what I wanted to do. It's not my cup of tea. So then I decided, okay, let's do something different. And then I actually happened to go to the US for a 6-month duration. I was in Memphis. At that time, I'm talking about 1996. At that time, there was nothing called email or there was nothing called internet. It was just in the beginning stage, and email was there, and it was like a very difficult process to even send out an email. And then I came to know a lot about that, and I decided, okay, let's do something here in this city where I belong to. And that's when I started exploring the opportunities. So I started basically a internet company. So basically we started creating web solutions in mobile technologies. That is something which we started 10 years back, but we started off as a sort of a technology solutions company. And at that time, there was very limited source of information on how you can access the internet and how you can send out a single email. So there was this particular idea which I came out with. It was not a big idea or something, but it's a very small thing, sending an email. So it was so difficult in a city like Madurai for people to send out emails. So we opened a small cafe, and we had this concept of people sending out an email, and we used to charge close to $1 for sending a single email. That's 70 rupees. And the funny thing is, we used to charge $0.50 for receiving email. So that was one of the things we started doing. And I came up with one more brilliant idea that for sending out an email, somebody had to type it. So we used to charge 150 rupees for 1 hour of using a system. No, it is not like we're trying to make money out of this situation, but it was some concept which I had come up with, and we thought we will try to use this opportunity because there was people who are coming from villages. We had to educate them on how to type, or we had to type it for them. We had to connect to nearby cities like Chennai or Coimbatore to actually even send out the email. So costs were very, very high. So this is how the earlier, I started my company and then it went on. But there was something else I wanted to share with you. It was about my school, actually. I studied in a school called Vikasa. I got one of my teachers here, Ms. Aruna ma'am. And a lot of my friends are also here who have studied from Vikasa. And in my sixth standard, I had the passion of writing poems and all that. So I wrote a small book which is a 20-page book, and I started selling it. And the recipients of the people who I sold this to were all my classmates and my teachers. Unfortunately, my teachers had to buy them. And I used to sell them at 5 rupees to 10 rupees, which was actually maybe 20 cents or 30 cents. So I used to sell that. I had printed 1,000 copies, and I practically sold everything, and I made a small profit of overall of around $20. So that was, I thought, was my first entrepreneurial vision. And now, last month I just launched my first book. The Struggle is Real, which I wrote about 10 inspirational people who inspired me. And one of them, of course, is Donald Trump. And there was one more person on that list who was, I know it's inspired me. And there's also Dr. Vijay Mallya. So it's a lot of, if you read this, you'll know about it. So, from what I wrote as a hobby and from where I've reached today, I'm really happy. And so, related to the topic, I would say that it's in your, I think it's in your blood. If you really want to do something, there is some sort of a message or signal which keeps coming out, and you have to do it. And when the timing is right and your idea is great, you can do it. So thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Mr. Venkatesh, for that very interesting take on entrepreneurs being born or bred, because the answer is, in your words, it's both. So you're born, you may or may not be born, but if you're born, you can breed it. So there is a way to harness the capabilities, the unlimited potentiality of an entrepreneur. So thank you for sharing that through your very exemplary journey. Thank you. I'd like to invite Vinita Chaudhary to share her entrepreneurial journey. She's the CEO and founder of Radical Edge, a training and executive coaching consultancy. She's a speaker, facilitator, coach, and mentor. See, it takes me time to get through your introduction. Sorry to keep you waiting.
Thank you. So, Vanakkam Madurai, and hello to all my sisters and lovely brothers who are present here. When a child saves money to buy a gift for her parents, born or bred. When a mother who works as a maid tries to see how many houses she can go and work to make that money to educate her children, born or bred. A grandmother who never went to school allocates money in different kitchen jars with a vision for her grandchildren, born or bred. And when I see my life with so many exemplary examples of an entrepreneur born or bred, I think I'm not the right person to speak yet about it. However, I thought I should speak today because my journey of an entrepreneur is only 3 years old. I come from a family where the belief was study, get a government job. Get secured, get a pension, your life is set. You don't have to worry, you don't have to depend. So get the government job, be secure. So my parents both are retired and living a happily, money on their own, not depending on any one of us. And I come from a family like that. What made me become an entrepreneur is indeed a sad situation. I worked in a foreign national bank as a banker, as a vice president and head of South India for learning. And I completed 22 years of my work life, happy, getting monthly salary and all the perks of a corporate life, until my son, my friend's son, committed suicide. He was 11 years old. 11 years old is a time where you damn it well play on a ground. You don't worry about the world, you worry about who wins what, how can I, beat the next friend tomorrow, and you worry about those things. I woke up to this rude shock of what's happening. And I think for me, that was a turning point. Entrepreneur, born or bred, I don't care. Do you have hope? You're an entrepreneur. Do you have vision? You're an entrepreneur. Do you have it in you to help your neighbor or your friend or a family or even your unknown person who's next to you? You're an entrepreneur. Do you observe people next to you? Do they feel their emotion? You're an entrepreneur. Because whoever I have seen in the last 3 years are the people who are woken up to that call. They have listened to that call. They want to make a difference, not how big, not how much. It is who is that person whom I can make a difference. So from a grandmother to a maid to a friend to a student is an entrepreneur. I have a 10-year-old son. His name is Adrian. He walked up to me and this Christmas he told me, Mama, I don't want a gift from Santa Claus, but I want a gift from you and Dad. And I said, what's that? He said, I want a PS4. And mind you, a PS4 costs somewhere in the range of 45 to 50 Indian rupees. And I said, that's too much for you, I cannot afford to get you. He says, but you're the company owner. You have lots of money. I said, well, that's a nice thought, and amen to that, but listen, buddy, let's work out a plan. You think about it, is there any other way? So I don't know what research he did. He came up to me next day and he said, I found there's a shop so I come from Bangalore, he said there's a shop in Phoenix Market City Mall where they sell PS4 for 21K. Is that okay? Is it half the price? I said, yeah, I love this negotiation. I said, still I don't feel like buying it for you. How about, you earn it? And he was appalled. Mama, I am just 10-year-old boy and that is child labor. How can I earn? So I said, buddy, yeah, that's a good one. I love to learn languages. And I said, how about this deal? You teach me Spanish, Saturday 1 hour, Sunday 1 hour, and I pay you $200. By June 13th, from January 1st to June 13th, you have 21,000 Indian rupees. And he was very excited. And he said, I love that idea. So I am actually going to pay you back. I said, yes. And he says, am I going to be the youngest businessman? I said, yes. And I said, okay, how do you feel about it? And that's when I felt, I don't know the academics of an entrepreneur, but I know the practicality of an entrepreneur. Only 3 things I found if you want to be an entrepreneur. Hope for a better future for yourself and others. Vision, bigger vision, dream. And that's why my mentor, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, talks about dreams. Dream bigger. There's nothing that you cannot do. And I want to give dreams to my son so that he chooses what he wants to do in his life. And when you dream, you end up having a plan. You have no choice. And I'm learning in these 3 years how to tag myself as an entrepreneur. So I'm looking up to all you lovely people who have that experience of being one, and I'm extremely open to learn. And my open to learn this year led me to IIM Bangalore. I got sponsored by Goldman Sachs for the 10K women. And I went with all that thought that I've arrived in life. First day of college, I went back almost crying to my husband and I said, I think I've not achieved anything in life. Look at all the women from 62 years to 25 years, they're achieving so much. And that's where I learned that if you want to be an entrepreneur, be open to listen, be open to learn, be open to connect. If you are able to do these three things, either you're born, you're bred, you better have your skills always uprooted and uplifted so that you can be an entrepreneur. So good luck to all our sisters right here and wishing our journey together. Thank you so much, Women Economic Forum, for the stage. And thank you so much for giving that opportunity, Harbeen and Mamta, and you lovely lady with full energy. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Vanita. Thank you for taking us on that journey of 10,000 ways to be an entrepreneur. There you go. Thank you, I need credits. But more important and prominent in your words was the values that you infused in the entrepreneur. It's not about the 10,000 ways, but it's about the dreaming. It's about the vision. It's about being the perennial learner, the perennial connector. And that's exactly all the values that we celebrate in any gathering of the Women Economic Forum. Thank you so much for encapsulating that for us. Saving our last special speaker to close this session with, welcoming Mr. Faisal Ahmed, the founder of Success Menswear. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome this absolutely successful and inspiring entrepreneur from Madurai.
So the topic given to me was success checklist for entrepreneurs, and I prepared this. But I'm not going to read this now. Actually, I'm not that good in English, and so I prepared and I thought of reading here. But after listening to three people's journey, I thought I should also share my journey here. I might not be good in English, but then I can communicate well. So, entrepreneur, born or bred? Actually, I am a third generation entrepreneur. I was born in a very rich family, and I was grown up saying that I have everything. I went to school in a Mitsubishi Lancer car in 1998. Until I completed my 10th standard, 11th standard, I thought I was born with a diamond spoon. When I completed my 12th standard, when I asked my dad I should go abroad to pursue my studies, he said, I don't have any money with me, and you should yearn to run this family. That is when I realized that we didn't have anything, and we need to run a business to generate revenue in my family. And that was the age when I was, at the age of 16, I got into business. With just 3 lakhs borrowed capital from my father, and I started my journey with 7 missions. With nothing, but only with a passion and with some calculating ability to earn and to run this family, and also to clear my father's debts. And that is how my journey started. And it's been 17 years now I got into business, and 14 years I've seen just losses. And last 2 years before 2 years, my net worth was minus 1 crore. And today, my net worth is 25 crores. And the biggest learning I want to share here is, when I had money, when I had assets, when I had such a big family, I was not able to do anything. When I had nothing, I was able to do everything. So one thing an entrepreneur should understand, that one who can't make cash without cash can't make cash with cash. So this is the first success checklist. I would say that financial discipline is very, very important for any entrepreneur. And second learning which I had bred is strategies. If we don't have an answer of why we in the market, we are out. So before 5 years, when I lost all the money, I just replicated. I just wanted to be near basics. I just wanted to be near Levi's. I just wanted to be near Louis Philippe. But then I didn't have the answer of why my customer should step into Success Menswear. So that was the reason we failed. We lost all the money. And when we got the answer that why our customers should get into us, and that's when we succeeded. And now we are not competing in the market, but we have created a $4 billion market. So before 2 years, there was no such market here wherein below 399 price range would sell here. But then now they have found only in South India, 27,000 crore is the market size of the low price menswear segment. So this is where instead of competing in the market, we need to create a market. We should have a strategy, and our financial discipline has to be very, very strong. And here till now, our return on capital employed is 200%. And we work on a negative working capital mode. Our creditors give us 60 days credit and we pay them at 14 days, and 45 days rebate is what we are getting back. And whichever store we open, we take the return on investment in just 20 days. Such a light asset model. And the recent store we opened was in Chennai, and we took the investment in just 6 days. And it has been nominated in the Guinness Book of World Records that it's the highest sale per square feet in the retail garment industry across the world. So we have done a sale of, consistently we have done a sale of 1 lakh rupees per square feet per annum, wherein the industry average is just 15,000 rupees. So it's not that we should have a very complicated idea. We should take, as Swami Vivekananda said, take a very simple idea, live it, breathe it. That's it. And that is what we have just taken, a very simple idea. Nothing complicated here. We have just taken a simple idea, and the ultimate aim is to reach our end consumers, and we have done that. And this is the learning I want to put forth here in front of, because I am a man, I am into a menswear industry, and my targeted customers are men. And here I am talking in a women economic forum. And another one important thing I need to put here is focus. Daily we get a minimum of 15 inquiries to start a women's wear. Even Karishma's mother, whenever I meet her, she says you should start a women's wear. But then one thing we are very strong, inch wide and mile deep. That is what I've been learned. And we are strong in menswear, and we have just conquered 1% of the market share. So when we cross 51%, we'll get into the women's wear industry. Thank you very much for the opportunity, Mamta. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Faisal. You are addressing the Women Economic Forum, but I want to know what percentage of your customers walking in your stores are women? Predominantly, right? So this is the right audience. Who's shopping for the boys? It's us. So you're at the right place at the right time. Harbeen, I don't know if you heard, his stores, Meera was saying that they're so crowded you can't get in. This is the miracle story. On that note, I invite Dr. Harbeen Arora as we acknowledge and felicitate inviting Linda Fostek to accept this honor as an exceptional woman of excellence at the Women Economic Forum. Ladies and gentlemen, we are close to the close of day one. So please shine. Congratulations. Inviting the lovely Jolene Maxine to take the main. Please join Harbeen in giving the video award. If I could call upon Soma Basu to accept this honor as an exceptional woman of excellence. Ladies and gentlemen, and the students, our young leaders of tomorrow, show us what you got. Harsha Vardhani, please accept this honor. As we stand, I think we need to. Let's stand. The students there. Yes, thank you. Good. And now, Mr. C.R. Venkatesh, we acknowledge your body of work in the field of digital media and bestow upon you this honor as an exceptional leader of excellence. He's also the branding partner of the Women Economic Forum, Madurai. We're in deep gratitude of your efforts and generosity. Calling upon Faisal Ahmed to accept this award. If I could request everyone here to come up for a group photograph, please. Okay. Sorry about that.
The youngest.
Yes. Acknowledging and honoring Janita D'Souza as an iconic woman creating a better world for all at the Women Economic Forum in Madurai 2020. One more. Vanita Chaudhary, please accept this award. As we acknowledge you as an exceptional woman of excellence. Don't be shy. Throw away the love. You girls sat down. One more. Sorry. Yes, we made a mumbo jumbo. Inviting Roxana Jaffa to accept this honor as we acknowledge your efforts and the body of work at the Women Economic Forum on this memorable day in 2020. Please stay. Let's squeeze in for a group photograph. The love you give is the love you get. So are you in need of any love? If you are, you're going to have to give it to us so we can give it back to you. Yes, thank you.
girls and boys of the Women Economic Forum. We heard loads of stories about being born and bred entrepreneurs. I would just like to ask if any of us are really born or bred sustainability officers of our homes and our lives. If not, I'm going to get you all to be bred today. The hotel has been fantastic. They keep giving us water bottles to drink from every 2 minutes. But what we are doing is we're moving away from the tables and leaving